Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you a fun live paper crafting class. It's Wednesday, August 13th, 2025, as I'm coming to you live, 11 a.m. Central Time, by the way, and thank you for the birthday wishes. A lot of you know that it's my birthday today. Yay! And this is a fun way to spend a portion of my birthday. So I appreciate you coming on the live with me to be with me on my birthday. I'm going to share with you it's a scrapbooking workshop kit. So it's made to create scrapbook pages, but I'm going to show you how to take those elements and turn them into cards. We're going to make a lot of cards from it. I'm not going to make every one of them during the video because then we would be here forever. Well, not forever, but maybe like twice as long. So some of them I'll demonstrate, some of them I'll share finished samples of, but I think that you're going to really enjoy my take on this kit. Now, this kit is fabulous with the pages that are intended for it, but for those of you that are card makers, this is just one more avenue that you can take with kits to create cards. And so I just want to introduce that to you. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope the weather in your area is decent, or that you're staying in if it's not. Let's see here. What do I want to tell you? I think that's it. Oh, the blog post, by the way, is live on my website, stampyourartout.com. So if you want to visit that blog post, you can take a peek at photos of the finished cards. Now, I didn't take pictures of every single photo this time because that would have been a lot of work. So instead, it's beneficial for you to actually watch the video so you can see them in full. There's a few that you can pick out in the group photo, but you'll want to watch the video. So I'm glad that you're here with me. And if you're here with me because of the blog post, wave your hand. In other words, log into your Google or YouTube account so that you can chime in on the chat, and then let us know that you found us because of the blog post. And then in the description of the video, you can find a link to my blog post. So if you are wondering what I'm talking about, I do have a blog in my website at stampyourartout.com. You just click on that link within the video, and that will take you directly to the post that has this video in it. Measurements are written down in there, a PDF that you're going to be able to print off or just download to your computer or device so that you can refer to it later, and visual supplies. Let's say a big hello to Trisha Joseph. She's my moderator. She is here to help answer questions along the way, and she's an amazing person. So please, yay for Trisha. Let's give a little cheer for her. And then a big welcome to my supporting and fan members of my channel. I appreciate your monetary support. If you are not one of those members, you can still support my channel by subscribing. So I hope that you enjoy what you watch. I hope that you subscribe, like, and share. Okay, let's start by sharing that PDF, because a lot of you are like, ooh, PDF. So let's go ahead and bring that over to my computer so that you can take a peek at that. This is what you would see when you download the PDF from my computer, or from my blog post. It has the name up here and to the left of it, which you can't see because my head's in front of it, but there's a date. And then you, of course, have your measurements and your supply list. And all these supplies, pretty much all of them, are clickable. They will take you to shopping with me. So that's fun. And then you have photos of the projects. Excuse me. I have a little catch in my throat here. So I'm going to bring you to my desktop now, and let's get started. Okay. Oh, and hello to those of you who are watching from like other countries. It's always intriguing to me. This time that I do my lives does work with European countries that are Stampin' Up! People. And then I don't know if it really works. I think you wake up pretty early to watch if you are in the Australia, New Zealand areas. So these are the areas that I'm mentioning are places around the world where Stampin' Up! Products can be purchased. So let's go to the desktop. And of course the US, Canada. Yes, can't forget about us over here in North America. So I am showing you my tags first. This is my name tag that I got to wear. This is the tag that was on the display table. So I presented for an event called Creative Connections. It's a yearly event. It's an event that we hold once a year in August. And when I say we, you know what? I'm going to take a sip of water. I don't know what's happening. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me that pause to quench. Okay, so it's an event that we have once a year, and it's put on by a bunch of demonstrators who have team members. So we're called lead demonstrators, and we put on this event for our demonstrator teams. So all of the people that attend this event are people in our groups, and then we help to run it. And I was a presenter. I was honored to be a presenter again this year, and they asked me to do the project that I'm going to share with you today. So let's bring in the kit. This is the Celebrate Together kit. You can purchase it in the online store. Of course, it is linked in my description of my video. It comes with all the supplies that you would need in order to create 3 two-page spreads. This is one of them. This is another one, and this is another one. And the directions have within all the cutting guides that you would need for all the sheets of designer paper, two-tone cardstock, etc. And then you see here, you have layouts showing where to position those pieces. There's measurements over here. There's little tips for assembling. And you can see the accent pieces, so stickers and ephemera. And in the end, you have put together the same pages. So it's pretty fun. But what's nice about these kits is that unlike our other kits, the Kits Collection kits and the Paper Pumpkin kits, nothing is already pre-cut for you. So that makes it basically a packet of ephemera, cardstock, stickers, and designer paper. So you can really do so much more with your alternates, right? And so we're going to take the stickers. These are stickers here. You can tell because they don't just kind of like pop out. What I did, just so that you know if you're going to do this with a future scrapbooking kit, I took and cut out around all of my stickers so that I could have them laying separately from each other. This is actually a designer paper piece, one-sided. We're going to trim into that. Here you will see ephemera. So like a piece like this just punches right out. And I did that for all of my pieces. I took all of my pieces from my ephemera sheet and I just punched them all out, set them off to the side along with my trimmed around stickers. Here's another sheet of ephemera. This is a big one. You're like, how did you get that on a card? So I'll show you little tricks and tips for assembling these. And look at the stickers and ephemera sentiments. Good times, sip, sip, hooray, let's celebrate. Those are great for making cards too. Summer fun, today was simply amazing. Maybe not a day to remember, but I'll show you how I use that sticker. Okay, let's move these off to the side. Now we're going to go to the designer paper next. So I'm going to show you that. This is just the backing piece, by the way. It lists the name of it. It tells you what coordinating colors are in it. So that's fun if you wanted to go and create with it beyond. Okay, I'm going to actually stick within the contents of the kit almost like without anything extra, except I have to bring in envelopes. I mean, if you're going to have cards, you need to have envelopes. So this is a pack of basic white envelopes, and this is what they look like. So I'm going to share with you, you know, like this is the typical size card that you would put in it, right? So I'm going to share with you that. And then I had to have some bling. You don't have to, but I always like a little sparkle on my cards. So I either add like ribbons or foil or glimmer paper. I've added rhinestones, which are my top little embellishments. Okay, those are my favorites because you can color them with blends markers and that sort of thing. The other thing that I brought in, of course, would be a stamp set, because you're not going to have enough stickers and ephemera in here in order to make like words for all your cards. And if I'm going to make 36 cards, you guys, I'm going to show you how to make 36 cards. If you're going to make that many, you're going to need some sentiment imagery. And I just chose the Simply Said stamp set. It's in the annual catalog, just like this packet. So if you're shopping from the annual catalog, you know that this stuff is pretty much guaranteed to be around through next May. But you could take any other sentiment stamp set if you want to. And then, of course, you need ink if you're going to stamp. So those are the 4 items: the envelopes, the rhinestones, the stamp set, and the ink. Okay? And then you need adhesives, but you would need that anyways if you were going to do scrapbook pages. You need your tools like a trimmer. You need your snips or papers, your scissors or whatever. We're going to use a bone folder. So you need some of those basic tools. Okay, let's take a peek at the designer paper. So remember I mentioned that this one is one that they considered a designer paper. All of these, 2 sheets of this and 1 sheet of this, are one-sided. Then we have some sheets of double-sided papers. And these are actually the same papers that are in the Celebrate Together designer paper pack too, like the same patterns. So those are double-sided, so we're going to use them. And then we've got our cardstock. And our cardstock is, and I'm just going to fan this out so you can see that there's quite a few of the white willow, there's quite a few of cloud cover, strawberry splash. Oh my gosh, Rachel, we better grab that sheet because Rachel's blanking. Hang on. Strawberry slush. And then fresh freesia. And because our 12 by 12 is now 2-tone cardstock, you actually have even more color choices if you think about it that way, right? I took the cardstock because that is the kind of paper that I would pick for a card base anyways. And I used that for the card bases. If we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock, whatever we get from one sheet, we can get from the other 11. So let me bring in a piece of the fresh freesia. We're spreading out now. We're using all the table space we have. Hey, Jean from Oklahoma. Woohoo! Thank you, Randy. All right, so if we're going to use the fresh freesia for an example, I'm going to show, well, let's just open up these cards again. That's why I brought them in. So I have a couple cards that I received for my birthday recently. One opens this way and one opens this way. Okay, so let's just take a peek at that before we bring the trimmer in. We could get 2 of these kinds of cards, depending on which way we want to cut it, out of one sheet. But who's to say that we have to use the exact same measurements as we typically do for this size card, right? Okay. Do we really need to have 4 1/4 by 5 1/2? No, we don't. We're going to shrink one of the measurements. We're going to shrink it in just a bit. Okay. So because we know that they need to be at least 11 inches in this direction here, let's just say we're going to cut 1, 2. Okay. We're going to trim off 1 inch from the bottom just to shorten it up to 11 inches. So now our 12 by 12 paper is 11 by 12. Okay. It's shorter in this direction. And I'm going to zoom out even more. Okay, so next, think about it. We could do 1, 2, and if we're cutting them to 4 inches wide, we could do 3, because 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12 inches. So we could technically go like this and cut, and then we could go like this at 4 inches again and cut, but I'm going to score on this one. Because another direction that you can have is your card opening in this way. All right, so you could have your card like this, or you could have it like, oh, and we got to put a score line in there, like this. And then what you have are 3 card bases, and again, you could fold it out the opposite way if you want to, but we have 3 card bases from one sheet. How many sheets did I say we had in the kit? Do you guys remember? I'm going to grab my bone folder really quick. Increase these. And we may have to turn them inside out, depending. But I'm just going to have all of our samples out here. Do you guys remember? there's a delay too. So let's just see here. I'm going to score on all of these. And notice too that I also have this 1-inch strip that I cut from our different sheets. I just took an example from each color just to have that on hand. I will shrink the size of the card when I cut it short sometimes. Yep. Accidentally. Is that what you meant, DRC? Love it. Oh, and these are already folded. Okay. I had 12 sheets. You guys are good. Okay, so sorry about that delay. There is like a 30-second delay. But now we have all of our card layers. Pretend like we've cut all of them. So 12 sheets of cardstock in this pack. Not all of them have the same, by the way. But this one, 12 times 3 cards, will give you 36 card bases. Yes, Marcia, good job on the math. And then we have one strip from each of those sheets too that is 1 inch tall by 12. If I were to cut them all vertically or whatever and then deal with cutting off the excess, then I would have like a 4-inch wide strip, you know, maybe 3 4-inch wide strips, and that won't help when it comes to doing some of my designing. I wanted the longest pieces possible, so we're just going to put those at the top of my table. We'll put those over here. Now we're going to bring in the designer paper. Okay, so let's take and cut this one and into one of each of these, and we'll put the rest of these in the back. You see, I also have some of these things too, you guys. These are photo holders. I'll show you what we're going to do with those later. Okay, so our cards, as you can see, will still fit into those envelopes. They're just a little bit narrower, but who cares? That's totally fine. All right, putting all the things back here that we do not need. So let's grab this sheet, and if you look at it, there are some definite lines that go all the way through. So here is a line, and I just take and line it up with the channel of my trimmer, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see better here. Okay, so you can see this division of these two sections lines right up. I want to make sure that that's very true on the bottom too. And sometimes, you know, your trimmer could be slightly off. I'm going to move the scoring blade off to the side. Okay, so we have those pieces. And here I can't slice all the way through, can I? Because this one does not have a division going through it. So the next slice I would make, at least in this direction, would be here. And then I could go here. Okay, so we're just going to trim through all these pieces. And I'm definitely not going to trim there because I don't want to cut through that whole entire blue. But hopefully you're getting this idea here. You're just going to trim through all these pieces. Now the layers that go for the designer paper, like these here, these are what I would consider ephemera pieces now. Things that I can decorate my cards with. And here, you see how this one is supposed to kind of pair up with that one? So I would slice through this way here and then cut off this little strip here. Okay, so we have all of them. This one gets cut here. So these, again, I would consider ephemera or stickers or whatever you want to call it. The things that would decorate the tops of the card. This one, in fact, I ended up cutting in half, this one and this one, as you will see in some of my first cards. All right, so that little step is now done. We're going to move on to these papers. For this one, you don't really have to worry about the direction on both sides because you only have one side. So I'm going to trim this at 3 3/4 inches. 3 3/4 inches is just 1/4 of an inch shy of 4, right? So it will become a layer for the top of my cards. And because my cards were 5 1/2 inches tall, I'm going to go to 5 1/4. So again, we are just going in 1/4 of an inch in both directions. Oops, sorry. And that will allow us 1/8 of an inch when we center it. So you would do that to 8 layers for each designer paper. So you have, how many do we have? We have a lot of this one. Oh no, never mind. Okay, so this one, we have 2 of each of these, don't we? So, but this one's only one-sided, so you're only going to be able to do like this side showing. For these, you have 2 sides. I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to look at the direction of these. This kind of has a direction to me. The stars or asterisks or glass accents, this is basically what I think of them as little like embossed sections of glass, right, for a drinking glass. And so we're going to make it cut in this direction vertically. And then for this one, polka dots, they could go either way. For this one, flowers, that could go either way. Let's do the same for these. And because they're thinner, I'm going to go ahead and cut them all at once. So 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/4, and again by 5 1/4. Now, the smart thing, and I'm not doing that for this video because we have a time limit, but the smart thing would have been to cut 1 1/2 inches in along the bottom, like we did with the 1 inch on the cardstock. So first you would cut that 1 1/2 inch along the bottom to get a 1 1/2 by 12 inch strip. I can still do that for these pieces here. In fact, let's just do that so you can see what I mean. So 1 1/2. And that would allow me to still do, make sure they're all lined up because I'm cutting 3 at once here. Okay, that would allow me to have longer pieces to work with. We'll just keep those with our 1 inch strips and we'll put these aside, pretending like, you know, we don't need them. Okay, but then you would do your little 3 3/4 cut into 5 1/4. Does that make sense? Let's put that over here. Trimmer off to the side. Now let's start to look at the cards. All right, the first 2 cards that I designed are using those 2 pieces that were cut from this designer paper piece. They were looking like this, okay? And then this little section here. So we had twin pieces, and we had this little strip that was alongside one of them, and I just cut it in half and stuck it above as if it was like a little clipboard clip. They are up on dimensionals, and then they're using this designer paper here. The inside of the card is the lighter color and the outside is the darker color, but you could do it either way. I just thought that the darker color worked best with this pinkish tone up here. And then I added rhinestones to the centers of the flowers. Where did the words come from? That's where the stamp set comes in. Because we had a blank spot on this piece, we were able to stamp pretty much any sentiment from there that we wanted to. So I chose the birthday wishes one on there because I thought it filled up the space pretty well. So that's what we did for that card. Very simple, very easy, right? On the inside, I have a white layer. Okay, this is where we have to figure out and get creative, right? Because I didn't want to cut up one of my white or 2 of my white papers and then have less cards. Da 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 da. The photo mats. The photo mats have measurements on one side, but if you flip them over, they become white layers of cardstock. So I have these in most of the cards, not the white ones. So when we come across a white, like a white base, I didn't need a white layer on the inside. In fact, you probably don't even need white layers on the insides of any of them because they are pretty light colors of cardstock. But just know that that's where I got the photo mats, I'm sorry, the inside layers for all of my colored cardstock bases. Let's take a peek at the photo mats now before we move on to the next 2 cards. So these are 2 of them. We'll put those there. Okay, so photo mats. We have in the pack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. We have 2 of these. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these, and I'm just going to use those as is. Okay, 7 as is. These two I'm going to use as is. So 2 square. This one I'm going to trim a little bit because I don't want my base to be super wide. So I'll show you what I did with that. But this one here, we had how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 2, because we can cut that in half and have a couple of those 3x4 layers. So that would be 12. That would be 9, 21, I think. Is that right? Yeah, 21. And then I can cut this one down to 3x4. So that'd be 22. But I actually have 24 card bases that are in the colors, okay? The strawberry slush, the fresh freesia, and the cloud cover. So I needed to get 1 more or 2 more out of this piece, and you'll see later on what I did with that one. And I got 24 altogether. In fact, you'll see it, I think, right now. Okay. So here's the next card base. Again, I used fresh freesia. Let me pull that in. So I took a fresh freesia base, and this one I wanted to open this way. So dark on the outside, light on the inside. So it would have been one of these, right? Here's my little lemon layers that I had from that designer paper. So I pulled those in, and again, great for stamping in the center of. So I stamped my thinking of you, and I put a couple rhinestones on there. Put that layer up on dimensionals, okay, so it's popped up. This layer is flat to the back, just like the last card. And there we can see what I did. We cut it into 2x4. Because this is a narrow piece, I thought that those 2 smaller pieces that we needed to make from that 4x4 last, the last photo mat piece would work well in a 2x4 look on the inside of that. So very simple, very easy. That's what I did with that card and with this one. Those are twin cards. Oh yeah, we're putting those here. And then we had some stickers. Let's pull in some stickers. There's one sticker in here in particular that I thought was really, really cool. It's this one here, and I'm not going to peel it off. Actually, I will. Let's make a card. Let's make a card, shall we? So I peeled that one off, and because it's sticky and I didn't want to bring out my tools to make it not sticky, because you can do that, I am going to, hang on, my umbrella is trying to get away from me. I'm going to use my grid paper to make sure this is nice and straight, and I'm going to just stick this on here with as much centering as I can possibly do. There is a faint line back here. I don't know if you can see it, but I kind of made that faint line go parallel to the lines that are on my grid paper. And then I took my stamps and ink. And there was a stamp in here that I thought would work great because it looks like a card for, you know, greeting a new neighbor or something. I just, you know, you bring some treats over and or you have them over and you say hello to them. So there's my hello message. And we're going to just add that with seal adhesive or with multi-purpose liquid glue, either one of them. This one's going to go a lot further, by the way. So, but I like to use this because I don't want to get messy. Glue, I sometimes get messy, especially when I'm crafting fast. I have a new refill in here. Sorry, we gotta get it going. Okay, that one I thought would work best against the card base that looks like this, the strawberry slush, because that's in the coloring of the sticker. And then on the inside of that, I put a 3x3 piece because this is very, you know, symmetrical. It's not rectangular feeling anymore, so I thought that one would work with a square interior. And again, rhinestones on there. The next couple cards. Do you remember I told you that I took these 2 pieces and I cut them? I cut them in half and I created these 2 cards. All right, so they work really well as a 2 by 3 inch piece in the center. And do you see this here? This is from my white strips that are 1 inch tall. So I cut this to 4 inches first, or no, not, sorry. Cut this to 3 3/4 inches first. Then I stamped on the lower portion of it, placed that on my card layer about 3/4 of an inch high. Then I stuck this down, layered onto each other like shadows. So let's cut that in half so you can see how that shadow effect works. You're just going to take and trim these together at 2 inches. I believe it was 2. Nope, it was slightly less or over. So this is 4 1/4 inches wide. These are going to be 2 1/8. So you just cut them. Then you add this layer with adhesive going more towards the middle so that it doesn't ooze out the sides. And you just make a shadow. So you've created that shadow, which then is placed onto your paper on dimensionals, and that creates even more shadow and lift. And that's how I got those cards. All right, the next ones. Let's put these over here. Okay, the next ones. I'm going to do one of them. So let's take this piece here, and we're going to grab our stamps again. Because this is a long, narrow, kind of a wide space, I should say, I thought it'd be fun to put one of my longer sentiments. The great thing about this stamp set is it does have different size sentiments. It has, you know, like wide, it has kind of compact, compact again, tiny, tiny, bigger, bigger, taller, right? And so you have those different shapes of your wording. I'm going to grab some blocks, which I need to start storing in my block caddy. I got a block caddy, you guys. This thing is awesome. This is from the Country Hive. I could put like my D's in here. I need to start doing that. Okay, hang on. This is the C. This is a B. I'm just going to keep this over here. That way I can grab the size I need when I need it. All right, ink it up. Stamp that happy birthday down. And I think I need to clean off that stamp because it was a little wobbly on my block. Okay, there's my happy birthday. I'm going to quickly clean that off completely because I think it's not sticking. And then I'm going to clean off the other side. Yes, I licked my finger, you guys. I'm sorry if that grosses you out. Sometimes a block can be dirty too, and then your stamp doesn't stick to it. Okay, after we've done that, where should I put this? Over here. Okay, after we've done that, then I'm going to pull in some ephemera or stickers. I can't remember which. On this card, it is, I think it's ephemera. So I'm going to grab one of these and punch it out. One of my branches. You get a lot of branches, by the way, so you have to think of them as flowers. And I do. I love leaves and branches and all of that. So on this one, I would take and probably use the multi-purpose liquid glue. In fact, I'm going to use my precision tip to do it. But do you see that? For those of you that want to use the kits as scrapbooking kits, all the pieces are very easy to find. They label it Project 1, so you know to kind of group that with your scrapbook page number 1. Okay, we're going to take and add that like this with glue. I'm going to just sit that in my little containers upside down. Okay, so that piece is ready. We're going to put dimensionals on the back. For those of you that don't know what dimensionals are, you may be a beginning crafter. This is what I'm talking about when I say dimensionals. They are foam adhesive stickers. So you just stick one on each corner. Then you grab the backing. There's like a little backing that you peel off. And now we can add that to a card and it will have lift. So let's take our, I think it's going to be this one here. And we need one of our designer paper sheets. And it's this one. Okay, I've already gone through those two. We can't do any more pink cards, you guys. We have to do purple. Oh, I know one that I'm going to do with the cloud cover. It's so pretty. So this goes on here. This goes on here. Then we add our rhinestones. And for that, I would recommend the Take Your Pick tool. It's awesome for adding rhinestones. So we'll just do like a medium down here. I'm looking at my ones that I have finished here. A medium and a small and a large. And the large one will, or I'm sorry, another small. We're going to take and move that one. There, we'll stick it a little higher. Okay, so there are large ones too on the sheet. Large ones and medium ones you don't get as many of. You get a lot of the small ones. And then on the inside, of course, I would use one of those photo mats for a layer. Okay, so those finished cards look like this, of course. Here's the inside layer for that. Did I show you the inside layer for the last one? I don't think I did. All right, so it's a 3x4 one. Next card. All right, the next one is using stickers because I stuck them down flat. We have a lemon sticker. We have the word fun. I just added them to a cloud cover base. I put the dark side on the inside this time. The lighter side is on the outside. This is our pool party striped designer paper that you would get on the back side of this one here. Okay. And again, just stuck them down flat because they are from the sticker sheet. So there's that one. And that one I added the other square. I stamped on the inside. Fun. Let's celebrate. Next card. This is another one where it was kind of like, you know, I didn't do doubles of some of these, right? So this one is another single. There was a punch out piece that said sip, sip, hooray. So I put the sip, sip on this side with one of the glasses, little drink glasses. And then on the inside, I stuck the hooray over the top of the 3x4 piece. This is using the dark again on the inside and the light on the outside as far as the card base. These two pieces are up on dimensionals, and then we have a large and two small rhinestones there. Blackberry Bliss designer paper, that one there. Okay, we're going to do one of these now that you don't see. I'm going to grab a base. We'll use this base here. And I believe I have it. Let me look here. I want to do it the same way. Oh, this time I use the dark on the outside. Okay. And then we're going to take one of these, because cloud cover with cloud cover looks stunning. And there are some glasses that are, you know, more finished, like they have something in them. But you also have some glasses that have nothing in them. So I'm going to punch that out. I'm going to punch out one of these branchy pieces. And we're going to make a card with that. Let's take this piece here, use the back side of it, and we're going to stamp yay. So I need one of my small blocks and the green ink and the stamp set. Here it is. Because don't we all say yay when we get a fun drink presented to us? So we're going to ink that up and have that ready. Let's position this. See what this will look like. If the drink is here, I need maybe, I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is I'll add this. Trying to think of how I did this, you guys. I think I laid it down. Yes, I laid it down on the card the way I thought it would work. And I stamped it here. I did. Okay, so then I could kind of see where everything was going to be. Ink this up, and I stamped my yay. And I will tell you that it's about an inch away from the left. So now we can add this piece to the front of the card. We're going to add this next, and we're going to need to cut it right underneath. So I'm just going to grab my EK Success scissors, which is my replacement for my snips, because the snips are no longer available, you guys. Stampin' Up! Is looking for a replacement manufacturer. to create some scissors for us again. So in the meantime, there is a link in my favorite extras if you want something similar. It doesn't come with the butterfly, but something similar to the paper snips that we used to carry. So we're going to add this about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. So again, I'll use my grid paper just kind of as a guide to keep things in alignment. You can also use, there's like these little patterns on the designer paper, and that kind of helps too, right? Now we'll grab this piece and we'll put a few dimensionals behind it. Ah, that would have been for project 3. And then we'll take our backings off and we'll add this piece. And because it's nice and wide, I don't need to worry about my glue. I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple strips of seal on there, and then I can kind of hover everything, lay it down where it looks best, and I think that will work there, and this will work here. And then I would add some rhinestones and of course my layer on the inside, and I would get a card that looks like this. So I have a rhinestone here, and then I have a couple that are on the actual middle of the little asterisk pieces there. I'm calling them asterisks. I don't know. And there's my 3x4 piece in the inside. I was able to make 4 of those cards. So those two look the same. And then these two, I added a little lemon sticker behind because you have these little sticker lemons. And so I made them look like they were on the drink, you know, kind of stuck in the corner of the drink. But those are all done the same way with the same layer size on the inside. The next card is where I got tricky with, let me show you. These sticker pieces here. So these little guys here, I pretended like they were pots for a plant to be in. And I used some of my white 1-inch high strip paper that I'd cut from my cardstock. And I cut that, first of all, to the size of the card layer. So that's going to be 3 3/4. And I stamped in the middle of that. So I used my grid paper as a guide. We'll just grab that hello stamp again. My grid paper was my friend, you guys. So we're just going to put that in the middle. And I have about the same little amount of marks on each side. And I'm going to stamp that down. There's that. This I actually put up on dimensionals on my card. And I grabbed this card base. I believe had the light side out. I don't know if it necessarily matters, but I had the light side out. And I used the Blackberry Bliss layer flat against the card. This up on dimensionals, a little less than halfway down. And then I took these stickers. Let me move this out of the way. There's 2 matching stickers that look like this. Here's the other one here. And I added them along with those blue little flower pot things above and below my hello to make a card that looks like this. There's that one, and here is that one. So 2 matching cards. I love it. It's so fun to look at comments every once in a while. I look up and I'm like, oh, that's funny. You guys are sweet. Yep, so there's that. Yay! And so we have flowers on those cards. The next one is using designer paper strips. Remember I told you it's wise to cut your 1.5 by 12 inch first, because then you can choose to have any size you want instead of just 3 3/4. You can go across your card base all the way and have a 4-inch strip, and then you can make these cute little lemon cards that look like this. So this one and this one are the same. I used the designer paper here. I used, I believe, oh yeah, these were little punch outs. There it is. These little punch outs here, well, it's one big piece, but I cut it down to get just a portion of it coming into each card here. And then these are stickers. So this sticker, and a couple of those. And there's where the lemon stickers came for those drinks, those yay drinks, drink cards. Stamped just a note directly onto the paper. And there's our 3x4 layers on the inside of those. How many cards do we have so far, you guys? I don't even know. Let's count them, shall we? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. We're doing great. We're more than halfway through. The next card, I used this piece. And of course I trimmed off sometimes you get little extras, right? I did some, yeah. You just have to clean them up after you cut them all out. But that one just needed some words on it. That's all. So I stamped just a note on there. This is a great one for sending a card for anything. So just a note, and then the inside you can write, I've been missing you. It's hard to know that you're all the way in California, and I can't see you whenever I want. And so I'm referring to my son who's going to be moving someday soon. So then we have some rhinestones in there to also fill up the space. That's put up on dimensionals on the cloud cover base. The dark is on the inside, the light is on the outside, and this is of course your Blackberry Bliss layer that looks like that. 20 cards. All right, the next two cards were done very similarly to the yay drink cards that I showed you earlier, those four that had, but these are just lemonade ephemera. They were pieces that just look like, if I can make this move out of the way, you see that right there? Those two right there. So I took them and put them up on dimensionals and thought they need a busier background because there's not a lot to them. There's not a lot of color. I'm not going to put branches back there because I'm using the branches for all these other cards. This is using the Fresh Freesia light side for the kind of pinkish tone because I thought it went best with the flowers of the card on the background of the card. And this is the back side of the Blackberry Bliss. So I already demonstrated how to make those cards. Really simple and easy. Because they're a white base, you don't need a white layer on the inside. Thank you, Paper Hugs. Thanks, Elaine. All right, next. Okay, this is one where, remember I told you this piece here, it's super big. Okay, so I took and I cut it in half. And I thought, you know what? It's kind of a lot to have those flowers with that on a card like that. I just thought it just was weird to have this arch back there. So to me, why not just blend it in with the same background and then for fun, pop it up on dimensionals. So this was cut in half, popped up on dimensionals, and the card that I created from that is this one here. You can see there's just a little dimensional edging on that rounded circle. It's on a white base. This piece here is the cardstock that we cut. I just cut a strip of it, stamped thanks on it, made a little cut in the end. If you've never done that before, it's super easy to do. You just cut a little portion in, right through the middle, okay? Cut a little bit in, maybe 1/8 of an inch or slightly over, and then go from each corner down to where that cut ends. And you can make a quick and easy little banner for your card sentiment layers like that. So that's the thanks. I just cut it to the edge so that it would line up with the designer paper layer and then added some rhinestones. So that's that one. But then the other side didn't have any flowers, right? So if I cut this off and I made this card, this side is very green. It just seemed kind of plain Jane. So I took, and here it is. I took these guys because they're super, super duper long. Do you see them? They are super long. I'm going to punch out this one here and just show you how it matches up with this piece. So these two are both super long ephemera pieces. And so I took and I cut into and around here. Okay, so I just kind of made this little portion here stand out, and I stuck that there and got this card. So I did some fancy little trimming, and that's the same looking card, but with an extra added flower to it. Now we're going to take and look at, there is another piece in here, and I think it's from a sticker. It is. It's from a sticker. So you see this sticker? This one here, it's also quite wide. It's wider than your card should be. So I cut that one in half, or wider than your card. I cut that one in half and stuck that down on one card at the bottom and at the other card towards the top underneath the sentiment. So I just pop this up with dimensionals. This is your yellow designer paper base that was cut from the, sorry, we don't have any left over there. Hang on. That was cut from the red polka dots that I used all up. Okay, so that's where the yellow comes from. Again, the yellow background is flat to the card. The sentiments are up on dimensionals because these are stickers. I just stuck them down flat. And they're white bases, so there's no layers on the inside. Now let's just look at a couple white cards that don't have any of these background layers on them. Because I wanted to have some of my cards without the busy background because I had some busy pieces, right? So this here had a busy piece on it. There was a circle. Here's the circle. It's from the stickers. So I took my two circle pieces and kind of made a flower donut. That's what I'm calling it. And then there's this Good Times, and that one came from this piece. But look how wide that is. See how wide that is? So I knew I had to have my card like this direction, but if you look at this piece, I'm going to punch it out, kind of blending into the background there, isn't it? If you look at this piece, it's too wide for the card. So I trimmed really close to the words and then shoved those pieces under so that the banner reached just edge to edge on the card. So there's little layers back there, and then rhinestones. There's that one. This is where I use the Let's Celebrate. It's a big long piece that says Let's Celebrate. I cut the two words in half. I put Let's on the front using some of the designer paper 1.5 inch size strips along there. Another drink glass that I had extra, stuck that on dimensionals. The Let's is on dimensionals. And there's the Celebrate. So that is the benefit for having your strip completely 12 inches long, because then you can use that other portion for the front of that card. There's the Let's Celebrate. Okay, and then there's an umbrella. You guys saw the umbrella. It's super cute. Had to have that on the blue background because it looks like rain, right? Little rain shooting down. So I've stuck that on there, trimmed off the excess because the umbrella is pretty huge, and then put my hello flat. The umbrella is up on dimensionals, and we have some rhinestones to add some sparkle. We have just a few cards left. These next ones are using the flowers and branches that I had left over. These two here are using the long pieces. Remember I told you we had a couple of those? So this one is using, I think it was going the opposite direction, so I cut into it like that, and I made, actually I think I cut it even further. And that was stuck here with a branch in the background. This one's just using the leftover from that branch, and then Miss You across the top. And of course your white layers are on the insides of your cards, and the flowers are up on dimensionals too. Oh, and with this, I did pop the ends of the dimensionals, or the ends of the flowers up with dimensionals, but the bottom I stuck down with glue so that this piece had some shadow underneath it. So it looks like it's coming out and off the page as it goes upward. Same thing with this one. And this is a sticker, or maybe not. Maybe it's just an ephemera piece, but that's how I got those two. And this one's pretty funny. Do you see how they work together? Look at that, they connect. That was my mistake card. Yes, Rachel makes mistakes. So you see this long one? I knew it wouldn't work on one card, so I cut it. But I didn't know what I was really doing when I cut it. I just cut it. And I said, well, we can at least clump that one behind a little sentiment strip and make it look like it's flowers coming out of a pot again, right? Thinking of you. and that's a white base. And then for this one, I was like, well, now where does it go? So I made it go off the page along with the excess flowers that were left over from what I cut off from this piece. So that was kind of my little mistake card, but it looks okay. And then we have the last three, and the last three are using these pieces that are from the, here they are, from the ephemera. There's 3 of them. And I made those say thank you on them because thank you fits so perfectly. I put a rhinestone in the middle of all the little flowers on the edges. And then I just put branches behind it. And so that is the end of my 36 cards. You're going to have pieces left over, you guys. There are going to be a ton of pieces left over. I'm just going to shove these out of the way so I can bring out that packet. By the way, I had no clue which cards I was going to put together and which ones I wasn't going to put together, but we are down to the last 5 minutes. So let's take a peek at what I had left over from what I made. And I'm going to zoom out. So this is what I had left over from my first packet when I made all of those cards. I didn't use the word summer. I didn't use, what is this? Today was simply amazing. I didn't use a day to remember, but those are perfect for scrapbooking. And I have lots of designer paper left. Look at that. I have 4 sheets that are 4 by 12 or 4 by 11, I think. Maybe 4 by 12. I can't remember what I cut them to, but all of these little strips in here, you can see I can definitely make at least another scrapbook page or 2 scrapbook pages or something from what's left over. So 36 cards and enough to work with scrapbooking still. Of course, you can't like make the same layouts that they instruct in the, or that they tell you to make in the instructions, right? You're not gonna be able to make these, but you can at least, you know, make something. And if you're making all these alternate cards, your mind, if you start creating alternate projects, if you copy what other people are doing, if you take other people's ideas and you mimic them, your creativity does grow. Believe me, it's true. So just keep on creating and you're going to see that you're going to gain all of these wonderful little tips and tricks and you're going to start to put together things on your own. It's amazing. It's incredible. So let me show you a couple other things that were from that event. Besides the name tags that I showed you, we got to do some take and makes. So they demonstrated on stage these 3 cards, and then we got to take the supplies for them and make them at home. So this is my card that I made using those pieces. I think I added a little extra layering through here. Yes, I did. I added, because there were no layers behind this white piece, and I just wanted a little oomph. So I have a copper layer and then some more pretty peacock back there. And that is such a stunning card, isn't it? And then on this one, I sort of rearranged these pieces a little differently and my ribbon, but that's the beauty of being able to make your own. Kind of like what we did with card candy last week. I showed you how you could take layers that people had started and keep on going with it and create your own. So there's that card. And then this one I changed up a little bit too because I sponged this piece to give it more of a fall tree look. And that's what the inside looks like. It's super cute. Super cute. So that was a wonderful thing. We got to have a whole pack of rhinestones from this event. It was crazy cool. Catalogs. They arrived. My big packs of 8 catalogs each. I have a ton of these little packs sitting at home upstairs. My husband and I tomorrow are going to start working on them. It's my birthday today, so I won't be doing this today, but tomorrow and through the next couple of days, we're going to work on getting them ready and out in the mail to those people who have requested them. If you are not a demonstrator and if you are not someone else's customer, you can go to my website at stampyourartout.com and you can request a catalog. Just go under, and I'm going to make sure I'm telling you this right. You're going to go to Shop, click on Catalogs, and in that section is a place where you can request a catalog to be mailed to you. You need to be in the US though. I can't just mail it to anyone. What else? There's an in color sale going on. What does that mean? Okay, let's bring you over to the website and we're going to click on shop and I'm going to go now to online store. See where the catalog thing is? Okay, that's where you request the catalog. We're going to go to the online store. There it is. Look at that, in color sale. You can click on this shop now button or you can go under specials and go to the in color sale. Either way, if you go there, it's going to show you all the things that are created with those colors, the sale prices on them. It's amazing. You'll want to take advantage of it. And if you are a demonstrator, you get your 20, 25 or more % off on top of that price. So yay for us. The upcoming mini catalogs, which I shared with you just now, and then online exclusives released to demonstrators only. You'll want to catch my video from last week where I shared lots of new product peeks, but those items are going to be available to all starting September 3rd. So make sure you're tuned into my videos so you can see when the new products are ready. Checking. I think that's it. Upcoming lives. We have every Wednesday, I try to go live at 11 a.m. Central Time. So next week on the 20th of August, I will see you again. 11 a.m. Central Time. I think I mentioned that already. The 27th and of course September 3rd. We're just going to keep doing every Wednesday. August, I'm taking a break on my second videos per week. I kind of took a break here and there because I had surgery on my foot. Anyways, summer has been a little slower on twice a week videos, but in September it will pick back up again. To my supporting members of my channel, my art supporters, ART supporting members, you have an extra video and I've actually shifted it to an evening. So it's going to be on Thursday, August 28th at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's for members only. And you'll see a link for that when you go to the members section. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Thanks, you guys. You're so sweet. Thanks for the thumbs up, for the likes and subscribes. We're doing well. Surgery-wise, both Nick and I got to put our feet in the water this past weekend up at the cabin. It was so nice. And, you know, just to kind of get this, get the feet moving and feel the coolness on our skin. It was amazing. So, all right. I am going to let you all go. Thanks so much for joining me. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.